Hello, I'm Rick Lewis with Phenom Hoop Report. On today's Coach's Corner, I have Rob Salter of Greenfield School. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
Coach, in 20 years, you have an amazing record. I'm looking at the stats right here, 549 wins, 162 losses. You have averaged in 20 years an unprecedented 27.5 wins per season. That's a 78% winning percentage. More importantly, in your 20 years of coaching, you have won 5 state championships: 2001, 2002, 2005, 2006, and then in 2019. 5 times you've been the runner-up, Coach: 2003, 2010, 2012, 2014, and 2018. And you have been to the Final Four 16 of the 20 years you have coached. You've been to the state Final Four. Pretty impressive. Now, Coach, you started for South Lenoir High School in 1995. That's when you graduated. You attended Barton College, which is also in Wilson. You played briefly there at Barton, but something happened. That last year that you were at Barton, you became the head coach at Greenfield. When did you decide you want to become a coach, and how did you get involved in coaching at such an early age?
Well, I always knew I wanted to coach. When I was a player, I knew I wanted to coach. I knew that's what I wanted to do early on. When things didn't work out at Barton, my brother-in-law was friends with the AD at Robert Stokely at Greenfield. And actually my junior year, they had a JV position open there. So I actually coached JV there my junior year. And, not having any plans of staying at Greenfield for a long time. My dad, I was a public school guy, public school principal. My dad was a principal for 37 years at South Lenoir. But then my senior year, the coach before me left last second, and they asked if I would coach the varsity team. And Greenfield's been just fantastic. They helped raise me. I mean, they're a family. I love it, and it's gone from there. It's been I'd have never thought I'd have been there for 20 years, but it's been a fantastic place for me.
Well, when you first got that job at Greenfield, it had a reputation of being a soccer program, and basketball really wasn't on the horizon as far as for Greenfield. What was your thought process coming into Greenfield, and did you have any idea that you would have the success that you have today?
No, it's funny. I remember the interview when I was interviewed by Miss Beeman and Coach Stokely. They asked me, what were your goals as a basketball program? Like you said, the soccer program's has won multiple state titles, and I was like, I want to build a basketball program just like our soccer program. And they laughed at me because they weren't making the playoffs. They were terrible. They were terrible before. And I said, you asked my goals, and that's what I'm gonna try to do. And they, they trusted me and supported me. And now, did I ever think I'd do this? At that age, no, I didn't. But I've been lucky to have the great support and have some great players. So it's been a lot of fun. Looking to keep it going for a while.
Well, Coach, you've been to the state championship 10 of your 20 years, winning 5 of them. How were you able to do this without the reputation coming in of a well-established coach?
I was a young guy. I eat, drink, sleep basketball. I can talk. I could talk it all day long. I was a young kid, and I looked at what we had at Greenfield at the time, and we had a bunch of soccer players. So, I was like, they do how to win there, but I just said, I know they're in great shape, so we'll just try to play fast. And but I think I just showed the kids how much I cared and how hard I was going to work, and I wasn't going to ask them anything that I wasn't going to do as far as working hard. And and they were just hungry. They wanted to have a successful program. A lot of the kids that were there, and I just jumped right into the culture of Greenfield. I'm not just a Greenfield basketball fan. I'm the whole school. I was there supporting them in soccer, and I think I just earned their respect early, and they would run through a wall for me. And that's kind of how I started. And I just wanted to show them that Coach was going to work as hard as I asked him to, and I think they bought in early.
Being there at such an early age, who had the biggest impact on you as far as your coaching?
My dad, my dad was a basketball coach for years. Growing up, he and I just talked basketball all the time. And, I always thought that if I could be half the coach he was a successful high school basketball coach before he became a principal. During the years, but then when I started coaching, to this day, I listen all the time, but a good friend of mine now that was a mentor towards me was Glenn Taylor and Freddie Johnson. Freddie kind of took a young coach under his wing, and, and I just asked and watched, and, I think a good coach is a great borrower. You look at other teams and what they do to see if they can fit in your program, and I just listened all the time. I just wanted to learn, and another person that had an impact on me was Dave Carrier at Westchester Country Day. I was coaching to get some great coaches early, and I was learning, there's probably, my dad's the biggest, but as far as in the coaching field early, those three were probably the ones that I was like, man, obviously looking at Freddie, I'm like, I would love to have a program like that one day. And those three guys have become three of my best friends. So.
Well, Coach, I remember first meeting you when Tyler and my son Coby were at Forsyth Country Day, and I believe we were at teen camp at UNC, and I think we were playing each other on at the Smith Center. Yep. And that was the point in time I first met you. I was impressed with your team, but I was more impressed with you as a person on just how professional you were and how polite and how friendly you were, and that made the biggest impression on me, Coach.
Well, I appreciate it. People coach for different reasons, but it's all about the kids for me. These kids have such great dreams, and if I can be a part of helping them achieve it, that's why I do this. I love to see kids overachieve, and you're talking about, but watching Tyler play, how he played the right way, and I was just a huge fan. And that's what I wanted to tell him, when we met, and just kind of give him a little bit of advice that I could. And I've enjoyed following him his whole career, because we met there and we kind of stayed in touch after that for a while. We really did. And I'm here to, I try to help any way I can with these kids because they need that guidance. And that's why I do it.
Well, Coach, I stated earlier, you've averaged 27.5 wins per season. What has been your coaching philosophy these last 20 years?
As far as X's and O's, we like to get up and down and play fast and pressure the ball. But I feel like I'm a player's coach. I'm going to give these kids freedom to play, But one thing they can say is I'm consistent. I'm hard on my best player and I'm hard on my 12th guy, I don't think most of my teams can say that. I'm not going to, I'm not easier because the kid's good or, no, I'm going to hold everybody to the same standard. And I think they respect that. Like I said, we're going to do it the right way. On the court, I like to play fast. I've gotten soft in my old age. I used to play man-to-man 99% of the time. Now I play it probably 94% of the time. So, we're just going to get out there. We're unselfish. I really teach being unselfish and sharing the ball, the importance of team. We really try to get a foot in the paint all the time because we've had some really good shooting teams in the past. So I'm a firm believer if you make the right play, the ball goes in, so we emphasize that here at Greenfield. But philosophy-wise, as far as just we're going to do everything we can in the classroom. Class grades are first. We're going to be representatives of our school. The biggest confidence we have is when we take our team out, and I've had people, at restaurants or wherever we go say, your kids behave so well, and please come back. And that's what it is. You got to prepare them for life, not just basketball.
Well, Coach, I remember approximately 6 years ago, your team was playing in the state playoffs. It was up in Asheville. And you've coached some pretty good players over the years, but you had one freshman at that point in time, Coby White. And I remember you coming up to me and saying, hey, Rick, I got a freshman that you need to really watch. And at that time, he was 6'2". He's more of a combo guard. But I remember you saying, hey, he's going to be pretty good. Did you ever have any idea that he was going to be NBA good as a freshman?
As a freshman in the NBA, I'll tell you a true story. I mean, Coby, you probably heard Coby tell this story maybe at times, but we were in our gym one day as a freshman, and I watched him, and this kid could just, like I said, his athleticism had kicked in, but he could just put the ball in the hole in ways I've never seen before. I mean, and he was doing it against older kids, and that year we played Wesleyan, and they had Harry Giles and Quay and Johnson and Childress and that stacked team. And Coby went out there and had like 25 points and like 9 assists. And, I mean, we lost a close one, but I mean, at that time, he was the second best player on the floor behind Harry. I mean, Harry was the number one player in the country at the time. And I looked at my coaches, I'm like, this kid's going to be special. And I knew he had a chance to be real good. I thought he had a chance to be an NBA player in his junior year when I started seeing the stuff he could do. I mean, it was just – I mean, the way he scored the basketball I've never seen before ever in high school. And, I mean, he did it against the best. It wasn't that he's doing it against – we played a terrific schedule, and he put up numbers that against – it didn't matter who he played. And he did it because we had to have him to do it to win. Coby wasn't that, hey, I want to go score 40 a game to go score 40. He'd scored 40 if it gave us a chance to win. I mean, and that's why he's such a special player.
Well, I always give you the assist because we were on Coby early, and I always tell people, I go, you know what? I have to give Coach Salter the credit because he was the one that told me early on that he was really going to be good. And I remember that game and writing about him. But anytime else since then, Coach, if you've ever said, Rick, you need to look at this kid, I'm all ears.
Well, I appreciate it. It's funny because like that year, Coby did not start. I think people ask like who was the last person ever. Coby didn't start his first 2 games as a freshman that year for me. I think it might have been his first game, and then he was in, and he was the best player as a freshman. So a lot of times on a team that had probably 4 or 5 college players that year, and yeah, it's been fun, and I'm telling you what, he's going to continue to do great things.
Well, Coach, over 20 years and winning 5 state championships, going to 10, you've had to have had a lot of good players along the way. Give me your first all-decade team from 2000 to 2010, and also your second all-decade team from 2010 to today.
Oh, man, wow. I'm going to upset some of my players maybe here, but no, I've been lucky. I mean, we've had some terrific players come through Greenfield. I mean, early on, I can't give you 5. I'll probably have to give you like 7, 8 because there's so many good ones. Anthony Atkinson played at Campbell, transferred to Barton, won a national championship, and played with the Globetrotters for 13, 14 years. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's in the Hall of Fame at Barton. Errol Frails helped win our 3rd state championship. He played at Barton College, but it's probably the hardest playing kid I've ever. He's one of the hardest playing kids and one of the best 2-way players I've ever had. Will Cash, Elon, he was part of our first 2 state championship teams. Brian Richardson went to the University of South Carolina. Aaron Suggs was fantastic, dynamic scorer. He was part of our 3rd and 4th team that won a state championship. He went to Barton College. Donovan Jones went to UNC Asheville. I don't know, how many is that? Mike Flowers was part of that 06 team, which was – we beat a phenomenal statesman team, and he went and played at Barton College. So that's probably the first. Oh, and Brian McNair was terrific. He went to Gardner-Webb University. He was terrific up there. Now, 2010, 2020, wow. I mean, obviously, Coby White, Elijah McCadden, who's at Georgia Southern, Aaron Roundtree at Wake Forest, Sam Hughes at UNC Asheville, Jeremy Jeffers, Drake University. John Bailey, he's just committed to Richmond. He had a starter for me all 4 years. And, it's Logan McLean, Miami of Ohio, 6'9", power forward, stretch forward. He's playing pro ball now overseas. Aaron Roundtree, like I said, he's playing professional. He was in Qatar. Let's see. Then you got the kids from these last couple of teams. Creighton Lebo was fantastic. So, it's hard for me to name. I've had some.
Right.
I've had some people, but yeah, we've had a lot of talent, and you know this, Rick, talented players. make coaches look good. But I'm gonna tell you what, those guys have played some heck of a teams. I mean, I've played against some fantastic teams during that time. The Word of God teams with Wall and Ian Miller and United Faith, and all the way to Trinity Christian teams were fantastic. I mean, we've seen some really good players.
Well, over the years, the NCISA 1A, which is the smaller classification, has been one of the tougher divisions in all of basketball in the state of North Carolina.
Yes, I mean, you think. I mean, the teams we played, like I said, I mean, you've got the John Walls, the C.J. Leslie's, Des Wells at the time. I mean, Ian Miller, who was phenomenal. I mean, Dennis Smith, Quay Park. I mean, you could just sit there and keep on going down the line. I mean, the Burlington teams had some phenomenal teams. I mean, it's a war every night. I mean,
Right.
it is a war. But when you get down there, and it's a war, and it's been a lot of fun. But it's definitely, you have to bring your A game. It makes you. I mean, we've had a lot of talent. But we haven't been the most talented team. So, hold on 1 second. 1 second. So I mean, we've done some good things, but I've had some great players. But it's been fun playing against all the other great teams we've gone against too.
And the thing that's most impressive about Greenfield, it's in Wilson, which, it's in eastern North Carolina. It's more of a rural area. It's not a highly populated area. So you've had a lot of good talent just come through Wilson, North Carolina.
We're lucky because we don't just get out of Wilson. I mean, we're 30 minutes from Goldsboro. We're 35 minutes from Greenville. We're 35 minutes from Raleigh. I mean, we are in Rocky Mount. We're 15 minutes from Rocky Mount. So, I mean, we're lucky that we can pull from different areas, but we have. I mean, we've had some really good players come through here. And the thing about it is when they come in, I mean, we've got a good tradition now, and our culture is how hard we work. They come in and they just buy into what we do. And when kids come to Greenfield, they love it. I mean, they bleed green, and not just their time there. I mean, if you see us when we're in the playoffs or the state championship games, so many of my former players are there supporting us because they're so proud of where they came from. And it's been, it's a special place, and I love my players to death. That's one thing I want them to know. I'm their coach, not just their 4 years, but the rest of their life. So it's been fun.
Now, Coach, did you ever have a year at Greenfield where you thought at the end of the year that we really overachieved?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would tell. I mean, honestly, as a 20. I don't know, was a 21, 22-year-old coach, our first state championship, when we beat, I think, Word of God. We weren't even thinking about state. I mean, we were I remember finishing the regular season that year 20-0, and I was like, all right, guys, just keep it going. I mean, I was so new to everything, I didn't know who was really good or not at the time. Now, Word of God was ranked with Randy Pulley and Cameron Stanley was ranked top 20 in the country, I think, during that time. And we upset them. That was a complete shock. And then I think, our last state championship with last year, I mean, that was a fantastic team. That team came together so well, and we played terrific basketball. I mean, if you wanted to watch how you play basketball as far as being unselfish and playing together, I mean, that team just at the Christmas just came together, and that was a special season. I mean, they broke the wins. I mean, the record for most wins of the season for us was 33. And if you'd have told me after we lost Coby White and Elijah that would have happened, I would have lost the house on that one. But that was a special season too. I thought we definitely overachieved. We had a lot of talent, but I won't say overachieved, but we surprised a lot of people. I mean, when I got in that season, I'm like, all right. When it started clicking, we were pretty good. I mean, we were good, but I didn't think that was going to happen when the season started.
Right. Along the way, you've had a lot of success, but also there's challenges. What's some of the biggest challenges you face as a coach today?
I mean, it's hard to, with so much talent in the NCISA, it's tough to stay up there, being at top. It's just. Okay. So he will. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Staying at that level, we're getting better every year. I mean, as a coach, parents are tough. Having the tradition we have, a lot of every parent thinks their kids will be the next Coby White, and it's tough. But one thing is, you just got to be honest with them, and but that's probably two of the. I mean, coaching's fun. I mean, the kids, yeah, some kids have unrealistic expectations, but I feel like when you keep it real with them and, and be honest from the get-go and not, they respect that. But I mean, but I would say those two things. I mean, I've had to change the way I've coached over the 20 years. I mean, because kids change, kids change. So it's been, it makes you a better coach every year. I mean, it really does, because you've got to adjust to the type of kid you have.
Well, Coach, you're in 20 years, you've won over 570 games and you're only 41 years old. Do you ever have any aspirations of maybe coaching at the collegiate level one day?
If the right situation came, I would definitely be interested. Yeah, I would, but I love high school. I mean, because I think it's, it's just so true, and it's for the love of the game, But yeah, I mean, I would definitely would have eyes open, if the right situation came. But it's also, but I love where I am too. So I mean, I'll definitely, keep my eyes open. But it's not like I have to get to college. Okay.
Right. Well, Coach, with your record as you are for 20 years of averaging 27.5 wins per season, if you continue to coach her for another 20 years, you could become the winningest coach of all time, be up there with your friend and who we consider one of the greatest coaches of all time, Freddie Johnson. Have you ever thought about yourself as being one of the elite coaches in North Carolina?
I do. No, I don't. I mean, there's so many terrific coaches in North Carolina. I mean, to even put in the category with some of those is an honor. I mean, we'll see. I just go keep, elite. I mean, Freddie Johnson is, he's at another level. I mean, he's just, but to be mentioned with some of the elite coaches in North Carolina is an honor. And I appreciate you doing it.
Well, Coach, with all the accolades that come your way so far, how do you want to be remembered at Greenfield? Rob Salter, the coach, Rob Salter, the person.
Just as a coach that loves his players, and we do it the right way. I want them to know that I'm all about from day one I've been about the entire school. I just think that like I said, we do it the right way, and my players know I love them, and we'll go hand ourselves a class. Did you get that?
Pardon me?
I said, could you hear what I was saying? Sorry, I kind of broke up.
No, I didn't hear it.
I want to be remembered as, a coach that players love, that know that the coach loves his players and that we're going to do it the right way. I mean, we're not going to take any shortcuts. We're going to respect the game. As far as the school, I hope Greenfield knows how much I bleed green. It's not just basketball. It's just the entire school, because I'm very proud of the academics and the athletic department at Greenfield.
Well, Coach, I've known you for some time, and like I said, I've always been impressed with you as a person and also as a coach. And you've always been fair, and you do things the right way. And I do think you need to be considered as one of the elite coaches in the state of North Carolina. What you've done has been remarkable at Greenfield. So we want to say thank you for coming on today and wish you the best of luck.